Marsh.
Oui, Jerkins, c'est serveur 4 et l'uniforme c'est 39e de New York. Very nicely done, gentlemen. Battalion, eyes front.
Left face.
Eyes front.
Company.
Demi-tour gauche.
Left.
Face in the south, please.
Left face.
Left face, 95th, left face.
Face front, boys.
Just to the right.
Sergeant Carter.
Battalion, in honor of your country, present arms. That's a salute.
Présentez armes.
F5, fellas, if you don't know.
F5.
F5, gentlemen.
You go back to shoulder arms, you press F5 again. I don't want to hear any clicks.
Shoulder arms.
F5 again.
Portez armes.
Stuff.
All right, very nicely, John. Thank you, everybody. Can I get First Sergeant Sober Destroyer to the front, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Sober. Make sure you're giving your speech in game and in TeamSpeak, okay? I'm going to fall in line. You have the floor.
All right, thank you. All right, let me get my papers ready. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If not, I hope you can find some solace in this speech. Today is a monumental day, my friends. Today is the 100-year anniversary of the end of the First World War. A war which, after the Second World War, was the most destructive and deadliest war in human history. Many in the beginning of that war thought that it would be over so quickly that it would be over by Christmas. Nothing could be, not even the wildest nightmares of those men and boys that fought would compare to the real horrors of this war. Indeed, this was not a great war, but a terrible war. It was, for all practical purposes, an industrialized killing ground. The advent of the machine gun brought the mighty horse to its knees and killed men like flies. The gas in which many would die from their lungs being destroyed or being blind by burning the eyes was used and invented. The worst killer, however, was artillery, leaving men for dead, leaving them deaf, maimed, crippled, scarred, and broken. All this was on the front, but at home things were not easy. Aerial bombings, the return of fathers, sons, husbands, and loved ones in caskets or not being recognizable, and mass starvation by the naval blockades also devastated the people at home. All in all, it was hell unleashed. But out of all of this darkness, there was a little spark of light. That light was heroism. The heroism performed by men with an undying and unbreakable love for their nation. Whether it was the Germans, the Austro-Hungarians, the British, the French, Russians, or Americans, or all the other nationalities that were involved in that war. They all demonstrated on the battlefield an uncompromisable love for their homelands. Matter of fact, Colonel W.N. Nicholson said, "Our soldiers have no quarrel with France." And indeed it was, for on Christmas Eve in 1914, on many parts of the Western Front, the fighting stopped. Others had many ceasefires to recover wounded. However, the biggest and most profound moment was when soldiers on both sides stopped fighting and had exchanges. They went to no man's land and celebrated Christmas together, sharing cigarettes, postcards, photos, food, and drinks, even going so far as to having a football game. Such events are unique in history, where they defy everything typical of war, the brutality, death, and destruction they bring, and shine a light on a positive trait that we have, that all of us have, and that is empathy. To put yourself in the shoes of someone else, to simulate the stress and pressures of their existence, and to think that would be done if that person was you in that position. It is a shame that such apathy did not pass itself onto the leadership of these countries. If it did, the war would have ended with many less losses and less suffering and misery. Instead, many of those leaders would start something very insidious and egregious. Particularly on the Entente side, they portrayed the Germans as Huns, which if a historian saw any of his students turn in a paper claiming such would give them an F. The biggest irony, my friends, is that if you study the history, the Germanic tribes, the forefathers of the Germans, were one of their main victims. They were displaced in ways never seen before by the Huns for their brutality and savagery. And after they established their home rule in Germania, these peoples came together. They set aside their differences and united in open rebellion against their Hunnic oppressors. Not only did they defeat them, but they were never seen in history ever again. However, despite these facts, they are Huns. They are not human beings. And there's no wrong to kill them but a service. And that was according to their propagandists. As far as on the other side is concerned, they depicted their enemies as simpletons, cartoonish villains that could be easily defeated, and it's therefore lighthearted, and it draws little comparison to their enemy counterparts. Some may claim I'm being biased, that I should be impartial, and focus on just showing the veterans. My friends, I learned a learned man is harder on the devil than 100 ignorant worshippers. Thus, a learned patriot is far more faithful and is more true and important to his nation than 1,000 ignorant fanatics. For he understands that it's not just to love your country for the sake of loving your country. He understands, though, why he should love his country, how he should love it, and when to. He also, without fear or hesitation, puts the needs of the people above all else, never permitting foreign or subversive interest to use patriotism as a way to rallying cry, to have bloodshed. He can tell just by being in tune with what is in his nation's true interests from those of the selfish groups that wish nothing but death and destruction upon everyone, so that they could profit. As a result, it should not be surprising that out of such horrors and circumstances, that people would create an anti-war, anti-nationalist patriotic movement. Books, movies, etc., just as a movie, as an example, All Quiet on the Western Front, a movie which tells the story of a German soldier from the beginning of the war to its end. I like and dislike the movie. I like it because of its style and its narrative, and also because it looks far more real for its time. But I hate it because of its message, and I quote, and I'm paraphrasing, "Death on the field outweighs duty to one's country." I despise that quote. I can understand war can break men, but it can also make men. For me, there is no greater honor than dying for your country. I would say I would prefer dying on the field for something I hold dearly, like my country, over dying an old man defecating on myself, forgetting everything that I hold dear, and not being able to do anything on my own. I'm of course talking about dying of old age. Now you might tell me, I was never in war, and for that I have no right to speak. In that case, let me use an example of a man that did see war and went through worse things than what our main character in that movie went through in the movie. Not only that, he is just as devout to his country as he was from the beginning. I'm referring to none other than our dearly missed and loved Georgia's First Sergeant Dieter. He was a Marine, and once a Marine, always a Marine. And I can attest, and so can others in the Second Corps, that he went through many battles and even had his arm reconstructed. Did he turn into anti-war and anti-nationalist activities? Of course not. If he were here, he would tell us that he still loves his country, and if he were in perfect condition, back to his young years, he would do it again. And on the subject of movies, of patriotism, why are movies like The Patriot and Band of Brothers so great? Because of your duty to your nation, to your country. One being at home and the other beyond, but both have the same principle, serving their country. In both movies, they don't shy away from showing the brutal reality of war. Loved ones die in The Patriot, and comrades die in Band of Brothers. But does that stop our protagonists from their goals? Much less put them in a state of self-doubt of their cause? No. It only adds weight for it. for they can't just stop knowing that people that they held dear died in the struggle. Finishing the fight would be the least they could do so that their sacrifice would not be in vain. With this coupled with all the things that the empire, the German empire, was fighting for, I would like to go to our Marik and ask him, you love everyone in your nation? You love your mother? You love your sister? Would you like to have the people of the Entente come in and have their time with them? Of course not. You would protect them and keep them safe and dear. That's why the British and the French fought so fiercely. For they feared for what they saw as the rape of Belgium would come to their homes, and that's why they did everything to stop them. I myself would rather face the gates of hell before I let any Burman put a finger on the women of my people. Now, to finish off, and I know I've taken a longer time, but I'm going to get near to the end, so let me find the one paper. Before I end this, I would like to thank Major General Nicholas Paoletti and Sergeant Major Volk for helping me organize these events and for allowing me to deliver this speech, for it means a lot to me. I would also like to thank everyone here in Second Corps and non-Second Corps for attending. It brings joy to my heart that you were able to attend. Now to finish off, in short, after studying the current events in Europe and in the United States and in my island, Puerto Rico, I think it's best that all of us, whether it be United States, Germany, Puerto Rico, France, whatever it is, celebrate this day together. For it matters little whether they were enemies, quote unquote. For in many ways, our fate will be the same. And in these times, our society's way of life, customs, and nations are all under siege and in one step and on one slippery slope of decline and decay. It is our duty as patriots, as God-fearing Christians, to stand together and to say no. In this world of question of our country to be or not to be, we must stay together with our heart. We shall be. Now, who's with me?
All right. Thank you, First Sergeant Silver Destroyer. Everybody, let's give him a big salute and a huzzah.
Sergeant Scott.
All right, everybody at the ready. All right, guns in the air, take aim. Fire. Ready. Take an aim in the air. Fire. Reload.